Shalom family, this is Grammy Yah. This is going to be a video that if this video don't start you to canning, if you scared, or if you just don't know what to do, this video right here is going to take you over the edge where you're going to say, I'm going to do this. Seriously, because I'm going to break it down as simple as I know how. And I'm going to start with the jars, okay? I'm working with 12 pint jars today. I will be canning red kidney beans, okay? And so when you get your jars, this is what a lot of people don't know. Let me bring you closer. When you go around to get your jars out of the package, don't cut the plastic down here. Just cut the plastic off of the top, okay? Because you're going to need that plastic because it helps with the weight. It gives you more support, keeping that plastic on the box, okay? So I am working with a 23 quart canner by Presto. I know Presto have the 16 quart as well. They all kind of are alike, but in the beginning I need to wash my jars. I always wash my jars. Now you don't have to sterilize them because I will be pressure canning, but I will wash them because there is a funny smell. If you ever open up your jar and smell it, it's a funny smell. And you don't want your food smelling like this jar. Okay, when I wash my jars, I just take the ring off. I put the ring to the side. I don't wash the ring. I pop off the top, the lid, in the jar, and I just, this is how I wash my jars. Just take them off and throw them in the water, put the rings over here, add my little, just a little of the my Dawn or whatever type of dish soap that you use, and I just go in and just wash it. They're not dirty, it's just the smell in there. And just make sure that you rinse it real good because we don't want to have Dawn bubbles in our beans. That's all you have to do is wash them, and then you just put them to the side. You don't have to dry them. So I'm gonna bring you back. One thing I just want to show you that when you canning, there are a variety of different size jars, okay? These are quart jars. Yes, both of them will fill up the same. Both of them are quarts, you guys. So, but guess what? This one is a regular mouth jar, and this one is a wide mouth jar. Can't you see? You see the difference? Yeah, but both of them are quart jars, okay? And this is very popular in canning, and also with the pint jars. Let me put the top on so you can see. Both of these are pint jars, but that's a wide mouth, and that is the regular. So I usually use the regular ones for easy canning when things go into the jar very easily. I use my wide mouth jar, but not all the time. I use what I have, but most of the time I try to remember to use my wide mouth jars for my meats and my candy yams and things like that, that you have to get your hand down in there to push it down. See, my hand can go in here, and with the regular mouth, I can't get my hand in here. So I'm just letting you know there are different size jars, and there are other jars, but right now I'm working with the quarts and the pint jars. But if you're doing jelly, that's a whole nother video, because with the jelly, you'll be water bath canning with the jelly. And I can also do that video step by step as well. Just leave a message in the comment box if you want me to do that. I don't care. As long as I will make a video if I'm only helping one person, okay? Because that's what I'm here for. You know, I just want to help and get you guys out of your being afraid. So, okay, so let me bring you around. Right now, I am going to open up. I have 3 bags of beans, okay? I'm going to try the 3 bags of beans. I have, I'm working with 12 quart jars, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour these 3 bags of beans in here, and I'm not going to pre-soak my beans. We're going to throw these beans in our canner without pre-soaking them, because you don't have to. Why do a step when you don't have to? So this is going to be the simplest canning red kidney beans that you've ever seen, okay? And so what you're going to do is, once you get all your beans in, bring you closer. Once you get all your beans in, you just go through it, and we're going to look for any type of bean that doesn't belong. Sometimes they have rocks in them. Sometimes they're just the shell and not the bean. And so I'm just going to go through my beans, you guys. And usually the ones that float to the top, they are probably empty. So I'm going to just go through my beans, and I'm going to wash them. And how I wash my beans, I just take my beans and just rub them together like that, okay? Just take your beans and rub it together like that. And I'm going to do this about 3 or 4 times to make sure that my beans are clean. And if I run into anything that doesn't look nice, we're just going to take it out. So I'm going to wash these beans, and like I showed you, just rub your beans together like that, and any kind of dirt or anything, it will come off. And do that about 3 or 4 times, or until you're satisfied. Okay, so I'm going to wash these beans, and I'm going to get them in the strainer, and then I'm going to bring you back. We have our beans all washed. They are drained. So I put a towel underneath just in case some water is still dripping. You will need a cloth or a paper towel. You will need a half a cup. Because we are working with pint jars, we only need a half a cup of beans. Okay, so get your half a cup out, and you're going to need your measuring spoon. And since we're working with pints again, we're going to be using the half a teaspoon for the salt only, and I'll get to it. You're going to need your funnel and my debubbler. You're going to need the debubbler at this point, and you are going to need your seasonings. So today I was going to cut up an onion, but I'm just going to leave it alone. But you can, because I'm working with red kidney beans, you can season to your taste. I like onions in my red kidney beans, and some people put the green bell pepper in their red kidney beans. But today I'm just going to make it simple, because I'm going to add onion powder and garlic powder and sea salt, or the canning and pickling salt. Let me show you what the canning and pickling salt looks like. This is what the canning and pickling salt looks like. Do not use the iodine salt. You can use the Himalaya sea salt, any type of sea salt, and the canning pickling salt. Don't use that table salt, okay? And so what I usually do is I just take my funnel, put it over my jar, and like I said, when it comes to the salt, you only want to use a half a teaspoon of salt. And I usually put my seasonings in now. So I'm going to go with that half a teaspoon of salt. That's it. And I'm going to put the half a teaspoon of salt in all of my jars. But right now, I'm just going to just show you 2 jars. Okay? And since I'm a person that likes seasonings, I'm going to go with a whole teaspoon of my garlic powder and my onion powder because I like flavor. And I'm using a heap. But you can stick with whatever you like. But I'm putting a teaspoon of garlic powder and onion powder in my beans. Because when I open my beans to eat them, I don't want to have to add anything, okay? So, but you can stick with a half a teaspoon of your seasonings as well. So now, taking my half a cup, scoop out my beans. There's my half a cup. Just drop my beans in there, just like that, okay? And you can use water, but I'm going to use beef broth. The beef broth seems to make your beans more tastier, but I've done it with water and they're just as good. It's just while the beans are sitting in your pantry for like months, the kidney beans and with this beef broth, it makes a nice thick type of gravy. So that's why I'm using the beef broth today. And I'm not even going to fill my jar up with the beef broth. I'm just going to, let me put a funnel. I'm just going to fill my beef broth just over the beans, okay? Just over the beans. Just over the beans. That's it. So now what I'm going to do is fill the remainder of my jar with room temperature water. My beef broth was room temperature. So my beans are room temperature. So my water is going to be room temperature. And when we get to the canner, my water in my canner is going to be room temperature. And you fill it up to the 1-inch headspace. And let me show you what the 1-inch headspace is. The 1-inch headspace is that first ring right there. That will be your 1-inch headspace, okay? So I'm going to do this one. Fill it up to my 1-inch headspace. All right. So now you're going to have to debubble. This is a debubbler. And on the other side is a magnet to pick your lids up. But I've seen different people use different things. I like this. Some people may use chopsticks, something wood to go down in there, but I like this. So what I'm going to do now is debubble because there are going to be bubbles in here. So we want all the bubbles out of our jars, okay? And you just stir it around so all the bubbles can get out. And I will do the same with this jar. Sometimes when you debubble, it lowers your headspace. So always pay attention to that 1-inch headspace. And since I've debubbled, I'm a little short. So I'm going to have to just add a little bit more water to my jar. Just a tad. Okay. So now we are at 1 inch headspace. Okay? With my room temperature water. All right. So now we need vinegar. I always use vinegar. Whatever I'm canning, I always use vinegar. I think that is a good rule of thumb because vinegar cuts grease and sticky things. And so what you do, you just dip your cloth or your towel in the vinegar and you just go around and wipe off your rims. And while you're wiping off your rims, if you forget to do it while you're washing it, make sure that there's no nicks and cracks on your jars, okay? And you just flip it over and just clean off your rims because you never know, some of my seasonings may have gotten on there, some of the salt. I mean, anything will stop your jars from sealing. Okay, because we don't want to go through all this and then our jars don't seal. And so now we just put our lids on and then we get our tops and we're going to go fingertip tight. Just tighten it just with your fingers as far as you can. Here we go. Just take it and tighten it with your fingers as far as you can. And these are ready for the canner. But I'll bring you back to talk about the canner. But I'm going to finish filling up my jars and we're going to rock and roll. And as far as jars, you can find jars at your local Walmart, Target. I know I find jars here in my local store. It used to be called Piggly Wiggly, but now it's called Carly Seeds. I find my jars there. So just go to a grocery store just to see if they have jars. But my main ones are Walmart and Target. All right, you guys, here is my canner. This is the Presto 23 quart pressure canner. Here's my lid. So inside my canner, there are lines. And it tells you where I need to fill the water up. But if you don't see any lines, you guys, if you don't see any lines, you can always use 3 quart jars. Okay, with the Presto 23 quart, you can use 3 of the quart jars and it will take you to where you should be. Okay, so I'm just gonna get my water, just room temperature water, because my jars are room temperature. And I wound up with more beans, so I had to go and wash some more of my pint jars. So I have like extra 5 jars, so which is good. I mean, what I think happened was by me cleaning by me cleaning the beans, they did swell up on me. And so that's why I had to go and get 5 more jars. So that is no problem, because now I love it, because now I'm going to have a loaded canner and I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. So if you get a Presto 23 quart, you're going to get the canner, the lid, and there's going to be a rack that comes with it. And this always go on the bottom. Never, ever can without a rack being on the bottom, because you can burst your jars and they can burn and crack. Okay, so my water line is there. I'm gonna fill it up to my water line. But like I said, if you can't find your water line, 3 quart jars will take you there. Okay, so while that's filling up, here's my lid. You have the rubber seal, and if you're brand new, you don't have to worry about lubricating it right now. But after about 2 or 3, well, about 4 or 5 canning sessions, you may want to take that out, clean it and then oil it. You know, you can spray some oil on it, or you can just, whatever, just take some, and it comes out. And you just spray some oil on it and just make sure it's lubricated, okay? And then we have the, this is the pressure gauge right here. This is very important. So we need that. And this is the vent pipe. And this is the, oh gosh, I can't think of this name. I can't think of the name, you guys. I think it's called the pressure plug. But anyway, I usually call it the little bubble. The little button. Yeah, so we're going to get to all this. I'm going to show you the importance of it. So make sure my water's to my line. I try not to go too far over it. And let me just balance it to make sure I'm there. Yeah. If you're a little bit over, don't worry about it. Oh, one last thing, family, I forgot to tell you about the vent pipe. You have to make sure that you can see straight through that vent pipe, you guys. Just put it up to your face and you should be able to see straight through that vent pipe. If you can't, you need to take a long toothpick or something to get any debris out. I've been canning for a whole year, so I have never had a problem of having food stuck in that pipe. But remember, before you can, always look to make sure that that pipe is clean. Now that we are at the stove, you will need a jar lifter. You don't need this jar lifter just yet. But if these jars were hot, if you were hot packing something, you would need these jars, this jar lifter to put inside your canner. But since everything is room temperature, I don't need this right now. This will come in play later, this jar lifter. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I have my water to my water line. I'm just going to start loading my pint jars. And let's see what we have. Okay, since I am working with regular jars, I was able to get 10 jars, 10 pint-sized regular jars in my canner. So now I'm left with 7. So this is what you're gonna have to do. You're gonna have to go online or go in the store, and you're gonna have to purchase a divider. Remember, we never put our jars on top, directly on top of other jars. We always have to have a divider. So yeah, just go and purchase this. I believe I got it from Amazon. And so now we can, actually this canner will hold 20 regular size jars. Yeah. So just place that right on top of those jars. Let me show you. There are my jars down there. And I'm just going to place that right on top. And just, sorry about the shakiness. I just want to make sure I just show you guys everything. Okay. Lay this back down. Sorry. So now I have 17 jars in there. So 3 packs of beans gave me 17 jars. So now I'm going to put my lid on it. Just line it up. And it just drop down and just go counterclockwise until this lines up. So now you have a secure canner. But guess what? I've got to show you one thing. And this is one thing that I almost always forget. I'm going to take this loose and I'm going to add vinegar to my canner. About 2 tablespoons of vinegar, you guys, because this vinegar is going to keep your jars from getting cloudy. You have some canners, they forget to debubble. I never forget to debubble, but when it comes down to that vinegar, every now and then I forgot to put that vinegar in there. Okay, so here we go. Put my top on. And it's so easy. It's so easy. Just turn it, line it up. Make sure your canner is in the middle of your eye. We're going to turn this on high. And what's going to happen is, but I'll bring you back on this. This vent pipe right here, this vent pipe here is going to start shooting steam. And once this vent pipe starts shooting steam steady for 10 minutes, I'll bring you back. This vent pipe has been shooting steam for 10 minutes. I'm going to put my weight regulator on it. Okay. Yeah. I mean, this is real. So I make mistakes, okay? So now my weight regulator's on it. My button has popped up. Now I need for my canner to come up to 10 because of my altitude or my elevation. I think I'm like 200 or 300 above sea level. So just Google to see what is your elevation. But I need for mine to come up to 10, and that's my 10 pounds of pressure. And it takes about 8 to 9 minutes for my canner to come up to pressure. I'll bring you back once it reaches 10. Now, you guys, I am at 10 pounds of pressure. I'm going to dial my heat back. It was still on high. I'm dialing my heat back. I'm trying to keep it between 10 and 11. If you go to 11, that's fine. Just regulate your heat. Never let it go below 10. 10 and 11, you'll be fine. Now I will set my timer for 75 minutes because I am working with pint-sized jars, okay? I will bring you back once my canner has processed for 75 minutes. Okay, family, it's been 75 minutes. My timer has gone off. I'm going to come down here and turn my heat off. And I'm just going to wait until my canner comes down to pressure. It's going to come down to 0. Once it comes down to 0 and that button right there falls, that means my canner is ready to open. While you are waiting for your canner to come down from pressure, lay your towel out or a rack. Remember, the countertops are very cold, so you don't want to put those hot jars on those cold countertops. Okay, my canner has come down from pressure, you guys. My gauge is on 0 and the little button has dropped. So now I am going to remove my pressure regulator. Now is the time where your jar lifter comes in, okay? But before we use that jar lifter, what we're going to do is we're going to open this canner. There's still a lot of steam in this canner. So what you're going to have to do is unscrew it. Okay. What I do, because it's a lot of steam, I usually lift it up, put it back down, just like that. You see that steam? Oh, you guys, the beans smell so delicious. So this time, I'm going to take this lid off and I'm going to take it straight to the sink, away from me. Always open away from you, you guys, because if you open this lid and the steam hits you in the face, you would definitely get burnt. So away from you and go. Here we go. You guys, it smells so good in here. So I'm not going to bore you taking out all 17 jars. But look at this. Look at that. Yes. And I chose beans for your first project because beans are the easiest to can. We didn't have to soak anything. So we're going to take these out of the canner. And we're not going to move them for at least 12 to 24 hours. Once you have them here, you leave them. Okay, family, here are my 17 jars of red kidney beans, you guys. Don't they look delicious? And if you look up close, you can see, did you hear that pop? They are sealing. If you look up close, you can see that they are still boiling. Yeah, so that's why I told you just to leave them here. Do y'all hear those pops? That the pinging and the popping, that is music to your ears. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave them here overnight, and we're going to come back in the morning to see if all our jars seal. It is the next day. All my jars did seal, you guys. All of them sealed. Let me show you if you know your jars have sealed. If you can just push down and it doesn't move, the jars is sealed. And also you can tell by the bubble. You see that little hump right there? If you push down on your jars and they sound like this, that means they did not seal. So I have all these already washed up. I have some soapy water here. And what I do, I just usually just put my jars in some soapy water, take off my rings, let them dry. Take off my ring, wash my jar, and let the ring dry. Because the reason why I wash them, because a lot of times juices seep down and you have a sticky jar, and even around your rings, it'll be kind of sometimes hard to take off the ring. So you wash your ring, you wash your jar and lid and everything, and get it nice and clean. And I've already labeled. Since I'm working with kidney beans, I put kidney here. I know they're beans. And I put the month in the year. Okay? So if you don't want to use a Sharpie, Amazon sells these little labels where you can you see? Okay, where you can put your product and the date. You can put it either on top of your jar, or you can put it on the side of your jar. Okay? And another thing, go to the National Center for the Home Food Preservation website. Awesome website. I'll leave that in my description box, because you can go there and you can find everything you need about canning and canning safe, and what you can water bath can, and what needs to be pressure can. It's a lot of things on that website that is very, very knowledgeable. Okay, so if you decide that you want to pop this jar open, okay, now you can shake it. You can, you can manipulate it. Because look, let me get a dry one. I can hold it with my fingernail. That thing is sealed, okay? But like I said, you can shake it, you can manipulate it. But if you decide you want to pop this top off to eat your product, do not reuse this lid to pressure can again. You can use it for other things, but do not use this lid again for pressure candy, because it may not seal. And since you're taking this lid off and you may need more, you can go and buy the regular mouth lids and the wide mouth lids, and you can find it at Walmart, Target, places like that. Make sure you wash your canner and dry your canner. And what I usually do, you can do any way you want to. I usually throw in the main things that I use, with the canning process. And I usually put the lid upside down so my pressure gauge won't get damaged. Okay, I hope I covered everything. If I haven't, leave a message in the comment box. This is just my way. I'm not saying my way is the only way or the best way, but I just gave you this little scenario to get you started. This right here is your friend. It's nothing to be afraid of. Did you see me jump back and scared to touch it? It has an awesome locking mechanism. It's not going to hurt you, okay? I thought it did in the beginning. I let my canner sit for a whole year, okay? So don't do that. Don't be crazy like me. So anyway, like I said, this is my way. There are a lot of other YouTubers out there that have canning videos. Hey, I'm just showing you the way that I know. I pray that you guys found this video useful. If you're already a seasoned canner, hey, send it to someone that's just beginning, okay? But hey, we all can learn something from one another. You guys, if you haven't hit that like button, hit that like button, share, and subscribe. It is much appreciated. I love you guys. Y'all know I do. But guess what? I love the Most High more. Shalom.